Good afternoon. I'm Christopher Sare, president of the LaRouche Organization, filling in today for Harley Schlanger on Tuesday, the 20th of February. This past weekend, a President's Day conference entitled America's Next 50 Years was held in New York City, featuring both Diane Sare, who's running for U.S. Senate in New York State against Kirsten Gillibrand, and Jose Vega running for Congress in the Bronx against Richie Torres, otherwise known as the congressman from AIPAC. The LaRouche Organization has endorsed both of these candidates. Now, while not everyone agreed on all points at this conference, it was truly an axiom-blowing event. And I think everyone agreed that the totality of the speakers combined left one with a sense that not only is there hope, but that this hope is based on the actions that they and others are taking, and that you, in joining with them, could participate in changing the direction of this nation and the world. As Jose said, I'm not asking you to elect me. I'm asking you to elect yourself. So I encourage you to watch the entire event that will soon be up on their websites, but I want to highlight a few of the speeches today. Diane Sare, who keynoted the conference and hosted the event, she led with the concept from Lyndon LaRouche. How does the human race get to where it wants to go? Well, as humans, you have to start from the future and work backwards. Diane, picking up from where John F. Kennedy left off, discussed the idea of a Moon-Mars mission that would create a bright future for the youth, an optimistic sense of direction for the youth of this nation and the world. And this mission would, of course, lead to tremendous physical economic breakthroughs here on Earth, and as a result, lift up the general conditions of mankind. Now, she raised the issue of the moral collapse in the United States, such that in 1961, when JFK announced the moonshot, we totally understood this. We now no longer understand this concept. What happened to us morally? She compared the moral principles of Hamilton and George Washington, reading from Washington's farewell address on the question of relations between the United States and other sovereign nations on the planet, to the current genocidal immorality of the war machine, President Biden's administration, run by the military financial complex, and called on all Americans to join her in crushing this evil that has taken over our republic. Jose Vega, who many know from his nonviolent interventions on warmongers across the board, from AOC to Mike Pompeo, ended his presentation discussing the Chicago high school students who walked out of school, successfully demanding that the city council pass a resolution for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Bob Baker reported on the mass strike process beginning across the globe, starting with farmers and now expanding to all layers of the productive sector. Farmers in Germany, England, the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Spain, Poland, almost every nation in Europe, as well as now in India, are standing up against this non-elected blob, what he called the agro-financial complex, including Vanguard Group, State Street, and BlackRock. This is the exact same apparatus that we call the military financial complex, which is bringing us to the brink of World War III. And what do they seek to do? They're shutting down production, they're shutting down progress, and they're shutting down the human race with it. And there's an upheaval across the globe opposing this. Anastasia Battle, who, along with Helga Zepp-LaRouche, has been organizing the International Peace Coalition, presented the principles by which you can intervene against injustice and change the direction of history. Now, Anastasia, like Jose, Anastasia and her husband, Stuart, have also been intervening. They intervened on Barack Obama, on Rashida Tlaib, on others, specifically on the question of the NATO proxy war against Russia, but it's had an effect. And what she described in here is, for example, Martin Luther King's understanding of this question of nonviolent intervention. Discussing the crisis in Montgomery in Alabama, Dr. King said, the tension in this city is not between white people and Negro people. The tension is at bottom between justice and injustice, between the forces of light and the forces of darkness. And if there is a victory, it will be a victory not merely for 50,000 Negroes, but a victory for justice and the forces of light. We are out to defeat injustice and not white persons who may be unjust. Now, she laid out the principles of nonviolent intervention, and here are some of them. Nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. It is active, nonviolent resistance to evil. It is aggressive spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Nonviolence seeks to defeat injustice, not people. Nonviolence recognizes that evildoers are also victims and are not evil people. The nonviolent resistor seeks to defeat evil, not people. Nonviolence chooses love, agape, instead of hate. Nonviolence believes that the universe is on the side of justice. The nonviolent resistor has deep faith that justice will eventually win. Nonviolence believes that God is a God of justice. These interventions are working. Rashida Tlaib is now standing up against her own party's support for genocide, in this case in Gaza. But she has the courage to stand up against her own party. That's important. Even Biden is now forced to give lip service to a ceasefire. We have to keep an eye on that and see what happens, but could we save 1.5 million people's lives? That's up to what we do. We have to keep up the pressure. Now, if you're depressed about the situation that we're facing, I would say it's because you're not organizing. So join us at the LaRouche Organization and think of the future that we want, and then work backwards. Thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you tomorrow.